Welcome everybody to This Ain't Hot Ones. This is Patrick from Nashville, Tennessee. We are promoting our new first single from the upcoming album. The single's called Good Times. It's available now everywhere you can find your streaming music. It's going up on Bandcamp, all the regular stuff. So we thought today we'd challenge ourselves with a little fun activity. We're going to do 4 different hot sauces. We assume an escalating spiciness. They're not super labeled. And then we're going to attempt to, after the spiciest one, immediately go over to our jam area and try to play through the song without dying. So
we're going to attempt to not use any of the milk assortments we have before us, but no promises.
Right, it might be terrible. All right, so we'll just kick it off with the historic Lynchburg Tennessee Whiskey Jalapeno Hot Sauce, which we believe is the least spicy. We will find out. All right, so question number 1 is Good Times specific. So some of these are from listeners, some of them we kind of came up with. Good Times kind of has a different vibe from the first album, self-titled album. I would probably agree with that statement. It's a little more mid-tempo, not necessarily straight pop punk. It's definitely got the bones. It's got a nice easy chord bridge, but it's a little bit more laid back than the first album, I would say. So the listener wants to know what led to the shift and what can we expect from the upcoming album in terms of tone and whatnot.
Well, so the shift, I think, came basically when Truman and Andrew joined the band, when we were really getting into the final stages of the first album. This has a little spice. It's very pleasant. It's a very
it's
good.
It's real good. I would eat this regularly.
I'm glad I have this now. But they came about when we were like, okay, the first album was mostly songs that Sean and I had written over a period of time that were very easy core influenced. But as soon as Truman and Andrew joined and we realized, we were like, well, we want to go a little darker, we want to get heavier, we want more variety, and there's a lot of places we hadn't touched yet. So the intent was to immediately start writing and put out a second release that expanded, which is what we're doing. It just took a really long time.
Yeah, pandemic and just other stuff aside, of course. So I agree with all of that. I think it definitely was the largest part, I would say, is primarily because Matt and I we were the band for a number of years. So we had just been accumulating all these songs that we had written, and when the other guys came in, it's like, okay, well, we have all these songs, let's record all these songs, everyone add their flair to them, but it wasn't necessarily collaborative writing or anything like that. It was just kind of doing your own parts, and the structure didn't change a lot. So the difference is that with this album, I think Andrew just came to the band with this song more or less fleshed out. So that's an entirely new writer from start to finish. That really is the largest shift on Good Times specifically. And in terms of genre and stuff, it what to expect, it's not all mid-tempo bangers like this. It's all over the place. It's very wide, it's very horizontal, which again just goes back to having more writers in the band. And I don't know if T wants to touch on that at all.
Yeah, it's just more. There's a wider palette of genres that we use, just because there's more people in the band, and I think Andrew specifically brings a lot of structural differences that I think the two of you use a lot.
He does literally have a degree in arranging. So
there you go. Yeah.
Put it to work.
Yeah, and I'm really heavily influenced by progressive music. So
yeah, absolutely.
I bring a lot of that to the table. And this album from a drum standpoint is I plan to play it verbatim live, where in the last album it was half improvised, and I'll improvise on that when I'm playing live. So it's more repetitive based for me.
All right, sauce number 2, Caribbean Sunshine, Jamaican Scotch Bonnet Pepper Sauce. It's a slow burn. It's not much at first, but it's rising. Also very tasty. Another one that I would for sure just put on things. Not too terrible though. Not being destroyed yet. That's pretty good.
This one's definitely sweeter than the first one. The first one is hotter.
Yeah. It's lingering more, I think, too. It's sticking around more.
But
The other one completely faded by the end of the question. I think this one will stick around. And we're long-winded, so that's part of it. All right, so the next question is actually similar. We kind of almost covered a little bit of it, but so the next question, the album hasn't even come out yet, but past this album that we've finished writing, almost finished recording and mixing, and is almost to your ears, what's next Are we going to intentionally stretch to even further genres? And have we considered adding any other instruments? So I'll take the first part, is that I've definitely thought about the idea of adding a keyboard, or if not a keyboard, just more layers of things that are underneath. And the primary inspiration for that, when I think about it, probably goes back to bands like Muse and Rush and Queen. So like they didn't necessarily, I mean, Rush probably more than the others, but like the synth parts aren't necessarily at the forefront. They definitely add something, but if you took it away, you'd be like, what, this song sounds so weird. And especially with Queen's 80s output and Muse from like their mid-career forward. So that's something I've thought about, not necessarily from a literal instrumentation standpoint of wanting to add another instrument, but more of just, I feel like that's maybe the next evolution in terms of our production and arranging skills within the band. I think is just necessarily adding more layers and more out of the box kind of things that aren't literally guitars or bass or drums and stuff of that nature. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm definitely open to, if anything, for like like a tour cycle or something, or even an album, having a keyboardist or whatever else, you know.
Especially if we did like acoustic stuff too.
Yeah, or like I could play cajon and shaker and tambourine and all of that. Yeah, I think the genres will only continue to expand.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really see it going.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to scale it back for sure.
You know, not going to scale it back. I don't think we're going to say, oh, let's add more genres, as much as we're just getting better at certain things and more interested in other things, where it's like, okay, we're never going to leave behind the core of what we do, but we might want to be like, well, let's try this in this song, or let's try this type of song. But for me personally, it's even less of, not even all that as much as it's just like, we've gotten so much better, now let's focus on just getting even better than that, and just making each individual song as good as possible, which is what we tried to do this time, and is half the reason it's expanded so much. So it's not about intentionally expanding, it's about using more tools to be better.
And it's been really interesting too, just to hear like a bunch of the previous demos and just partial versions of songs, specifically Good Times. The Bandcamp version is going to have a bunch of like bonus tracks of various demos and live rehearsals and things like that, so you can kind of hear how the song evolved over the last couple of years to get where it is now. All right.
We're on the third sauce.
Our third sauce is Hot Sauce Nashville. Represent. Their green sauce specifically, I could just drink right out of the bottle. It's so good. I'm a huge fan.
That'll be on our Patreon.
It'll be on right. Sponsor us. We'll sell your stuff at our merch table. Consignment. But so this is Hot Tropic. I believe it's I think it's their spiciest one. Their hot garlic is also pretty darn spicy too. Very tasty. This is a kick of habanero heat. A juicy cocktail of peppers, spices, pineapple, and mango. So here we go.
Sounds good. This is gonna be hard. I'm still like, the tingle from the first two is definitely still there, but nothing crazy.
That aftertaste.
That second one lingered a long time. Yeah. Let's see if I can.
It is making my nose run though, so it must be at least a little spicy.
My hands are gonna come towards my face more and more the longer this video gets.
So tasty. Hot Sauce Nashville, love them.
Not a sponsor, but they could.
They could be. That's pretty good. I've definitely accidentally overloaded my chili with that one before, and that was very difficult to get through, but it was very good.
Yeah,
I think we did the correct order so far.
This one is my favorite.
That's real tasty.
That's really good. Oh, and I'm just noticing this is from their very first batch, so.
That's cool.
All right. Next up, we've got a question, two-part question. Have we thought about teaming up with other local bands or anything like that for a future project? And then this one's getting me a little bit.
It takes a long time to kick in. It's just started for me, so apparently it's about to get worse.
So anyway, have we thought about teaming up with other locals for a project or anything? And then the second part, when are we going to be back on stage? So.
The first one we have already a little bit.
We have done. We teamed up with, not necessarily teamed up. We were just part of a Nashville song swap. So you can go check out our cover. It's called "Run from Hell"
by Meg Riley.
Met by Meg Riley originally. We covered it. Matt was the primary writer and arranger on that one.
Got a music video out.
Yeah, music.
Yeah.
Kind of a playthrough video for that one. that turned out really well. It's definitely something that is not our typical sound. In fact, it's probably the furthest from our typical sound. It's
by a wide margin.
Yeah, singer-songwriter, kind of country-ish Americana feel.
Yeah,
so.
very Americana folk, but like dark Americana, which is I like for sure.
Exactly. And then we had another guy whose name is escaping me, but we'll post it, who covered our song of Unincorporated Ducktown. Kind of did like a smooth jazz reggae
I don't
feel.
know what you would call it, yeah.
Right, it's just like really easy listening, way out of left field. Again, that's what I was hoping for, is for someone to get our like, maybe the fastest song from the first album. Definitely one of the more intense ones.
Butts might be faster, but...
Oh yeah, Butts might be faster.
It's up there.
But it's one of the
Ducktown is
faster
so
ones.
syncopated, it's like...
Yeah, so to hear that really scaled back and just really grooving with it, like you're in the Kokomo or something.
Yeah, it feels like even more ironic because it's a kind of an angry song, like a frustrated song. But he's just I'm really feeling this one.
There's like a sax in there too. I think that's the main riff is played on a saxophone instead of the classic
which is very cool.
blink guitar part. So the second part, it's definitely this is for sure the right order to do these.
Yeah.
The second part, when are we going to be back on stage? We're making sort of a conscious effort to put a bit of effort into live streaming shows. It's just a lot easier. Honestly, the Nashville scene for local bands isn't as great as a lot of people might think it is. It's a lot of empty rooms at small clubs, unfortunately. So, and additionally with Ben, our bassist, just joining the band, and he is really based out of Atlanta. So we're just focusing on a lot of stuff we can do ourselves from the comfort of Truman's apartment here. He's got an e-kit over there that you'll see as we attempt the playthrough of the hottest sauce. After the hottest sauce, my mouth is getting so liquidy and filled with liquids. But anyway, so I do miss being on stage. There's nothing like having.
We're not
audience.
saying no. We just
exactly.
We want to pick and choose and be strategic. And because Ben's in Atlanta and I'm from Atlanta, we're probably going to try and play in Georgia soon, hopefully. We might end up playing there before we play in Nashville.
Yeah, because it just helps when you're from an area. That doesn't mean necessarily that you have a draw in that area. Nashville is very saturated as it is. So, not that Atlanta isn't, but just getting to a town that you're not from makes it a bit more exciting for the audience too. It makes it more of a high-profile event than just going to see your friends at a club or stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna take this. Is there another question, or are we going straight?
There are no more questions. So we're gonna take this. We're gonna live move the cameras over, and we're gonna immediately start playing Good Times. Make sure you get a healthy amount, because I want to make sure this is.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. This is about to be genuinely unpleasant.
Oh, yeah,
but
here we go.
My dream, and I think we would all enjoy it, is one of my dreams to be on Hot Ones as the band, like the band do well enough and get to answer amazing questions.
I didn't promo this one yet. It's called The Beast. The subtitle is Hottest This Side of Hell for the More Than Insane. The Taste of Tennessee Hill Country Whiskey.
So another
warning,
whiskey.
XXX Screamly Hot. Extremely hot.
Extremely. Good line.
Alright, so if you like what our faces and mouths do as we eat this...
This hot sauce has lurked for millennia and nightmares.
Alright, that's
okay.
That's promising.
That's
the sauce of destiny.
See, I'll just
okay, well, that's...
Oh, boy.
That's a lot.
That's too much.
Oh, man.
Alright.
I'm gonna butcher this song. Oh.
Alright, here we go.
Need some milk.
Alright, let's do it.
Oh, fuck.
Did I stop recording?
No, it's happening.
No, everything is as it should be. That's the problem.
I'm not.
It's the only one that doesn't taste good either, which is to be expected.
It's growing.
Oh, this is bad now. This is bad. I'm feeling it in my throat.
Yeah. Okay, where's my pee?
Are you... What's going on there?
What's going on where?
There was just some buzz coming and I saw some...
Oh, man.
Hair.
I think we're okay.
It's taken longer for it to kick in for me than everyone else, it seems, but I'm getting it in the back of my throat now.
Okay. Oh. Good times. Here we go.
shit because we played good, but my mouth hurts.
We need some milk.